No Chill Sports is an unapologetic, high-energy sports show where opinions fly fast and facts hit hard. The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the hosts and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of any affiliated networks, sponsors, or partners. Content may include passionate debates, bold predictions, and unfiltered takes that some viewers may find intense or controversial. Listener discretion is advised. If you're looking for chill, this ain't the place.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of HBCU Hour, where the legacy lives loud and the culture takes center stage. From the gridiron to the hardwood, we shine a spotlight on the soul of Black college sports. This ain't just coverage, it's a celebration. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. First Thursday night, well, no, it's not. But we got Thursday night football on. I know y'all watching that, but we had to come to you, talk about this week's matchup, the game of the week, and I had to bring my guys on to help me talk about it. But first, let's go ahead and get to it. I ain't gonna hold you up. Let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor over at Kelly Creations, also the sponsor for the game of the week. We'll be back in 1 minute. Your brand deserves more than basic. It deserves bold. It deserves clean. It deserves Kelly Creations. From screen prints that pop, to embroidery that speaks volumes, to picture tees that tell your story, Donald D.K. Kelly does it all. Give him a call today at 225-202-2625 or shoot him an email at kellycreations225@gmail.com. That's KELLYKREATIONS 225@gmail.com. And don't forget to tell them No Chill Sports sent you. Kelly Creations. Nobody does it better. This week's game of the week brought to you by Kelly Creations. None other than the Alabama A&M Bulldogs taking on Tennessee State Tigers in Nashville. And help me talk about this game, we have to bring our man from the Hill Podcast and the Wild Ride, our good man, Mr. Wayne Cartwright, and also Sports Illustrated's FCS Central, our brother from another, Blue. Fellas, thank y'all for joining me tonight. And let's go ahead and talk about this wonderful game we got.
What's going on, everybody out there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, we got a I think this rivalry, this series is going to be very beneficial to both schools. I think this is something that hopefully can muster past the 3 year. I think it's a 3 year series that they got right now.
4 year series.
4 year. I hope it goes long. I hope they renew this and this thing stays. Schools are separated by what, hour, 45 minutes at most. It's great place for a great situation to have a rivalry. Both teams coming to this, A&M, both teams coming in, new coaches. A&M is in a little bit better situation, being able to keep most of their roster together. Tennessee State brought in a veteran at HBCU in Reggie Barlow, somebody who's played, who's coached at many levels. Man, and the job he's done thus far to kind of keep this team relevant, I guess you could say. It's been amazing. I'm looking forward to this game Saturday. And as we go on and talk about some of the other games we got, you can tell why this is the best game and the game of the week. But fellas, your initial thoughts about this game and what it can mean for each school.
Blue?
Go ahead, Wayne.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, it's really good that A&M got off the mat and started fast and finished well last week to get a win. This game is important because these are games against another FCS opponent. Not just for the SWAC itself, but also just in A&M sense. It's just one of those type of wins that you think would just give you a little bit more of a shot in the arm as you get ready towards that SWAC play. Tennessee State, obviously, they're not the team that they were last year, but nevertheless, it's a road game at what would be considered a quality opponent. So mentally, and also just for the entire excitement that's building around the program that came from last week, building on that momentum is important to get this win. That's what makes it so important this week. So, Blue?
Yeah, I think this game is super important because you look, especially on Tennessee State side, right? I still don't really know if we know what this program is going to be. I think they played the A&T team that's still in rebuilding mode. And so that was a really good win. I think that was a must win for them. There's going to be some really, really tough games in OVC Big South play that we're going to have to find out a lot about this team. And this is really the first test for them. And the fact you get it at home makes you feel good because I think for both of these teams, you had to get like Alabama A&M, huge win over Alcorn, right? You had the same, like I just mentioned, with A&T and Tennessee State. Both played quote unquote money games, even though Tennessee State didn't get paid for theirs. Playing North Dakota State was never going to be a win, and that was going to be a blowout. Same for A&M and Arkansas. So I think this is really a really good test for both teams. And for A&M, you look at that SWAC East. I know Jackson hasn't looked the best, but you have to be feeling like you maybe could push for that second place with how bad FAMs look. I think Bama State, in my opinion, is probably still number 2. But if A&M comes out here and looks really impressive, man, I don't see why this staff and this fan base won't think that they can push for that 2 spot.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, Jackson State, obviously, the way they play defense, they're still in a better place. But yeah, everybody else, FAMU's got a lot of questions. Bama State has questions on defense. And also you still haven't seen Body play a complete season yet. So we still got to see how that transpires. But for A&M, like I said, this will be huge for them to get this win because next week they play Lane, and that will put them at 3-1 headed into starting SWAC play. And it's been a good while since A&M has been able to have this kind of an excitement. I mean, it's literally been since Aquil Glass was our quarterback when we had this kind of excitement around our program. And that was over 4 seasons ago, man. So, big time opportunity to go up to Nashville and get one done.
Yeah, you mentioned Aquil Glass. Last week, Quad Brown, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, ended up being SWAC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. He had a game that made everyone believe that, okay, A&M has got a quarterback that can help them push for that number 2 spot. What we saw out of him in that game, I didn't watch much of the Arkansas game because I didn't think there'll be much to take from it outside of maybe like the first, quarter or so. But from what I've seen of him thus far in practice, in the 2 games we have seen him, I was about to call him Aquil Glass. Quad has been
Quad Brown.
Yeah, Quad has been phenomenal. He looks like he's turned that corner. On the Tennessee State side, Palmer, I thought watching practice film and everything I saw, I was like, okay, Tennessee State may be, in good hands, but that's not necessarily what we've seen play out on the field. It's kind of a tale of two quarterbacks or 2 halves, I guess you could say, or 2 cities, however you want to look at it. But quarterback v. quarterback. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the advantage strongly goes toward A&M, and that's why I leaned them earlier in the week when I made my pick. And it's just because I think Quad Brown can get you a few plays that maybe you don't execute at the highest level. And O-lineman misses a block, Quad Brown can make a guy miss and go make a play off of that. I don't think Jonathan Palmer has that same ability. I thought he showed some flashes against A&T, and to be fair, I want to give him full credit here. They were just overmatched against North Dakota State. I don't think any of the quarterbacks they had on their roster was going to perform well in that game, but I still don't. I still think he kind of got outplayed even in the A&T game, and that's going to be the question here. Is he's going to have to show that he can elevate the team around him, and for right now, I think he's looked more like a game manager than a game changer, and that's why I lean A&M in the quarterback division is because Quad Brown could be a game changer with his legs and his ability to create explosive plays.
Yeah. Palmer, that first game that they came out against North Carolina A&T, he threw the ball to Slaughter, the freshman receiver. He had over 100 yards receiving. But really, other than that, I mean, the rest of it was really the Kendrick Grimes show. So I think what's important for him is that if they get that run game going, it definitely takes the pressure off of them. Now, the thing that I've said many times, in HBCU football, really, is if the quarterback is struggling to have any kind of sense of rhythm in the passing game, and you can basically develop and put more guys up to sell out against that run and try to make the quarterback try to make plays, try to make him be something that he's really not, then that leads to a lot of struggles. And for Palmer, unfortunately, if he's not going to be able to prove that he's more of a passer or more of a willing passer that can turn it loose and can make plays with his legs, it's going to be a struggle for those guys this year. Now, on the other side, obviously, Quad, 7th year in college football. He's been around, well-traveled. He's been there, done that. And what you saw a lot from him against Alcorn, you saw his not just his arm talent, you saw his escapability to be able to get out of there. Because there were times when Alcorn were getting to him, and he just escaped, made a move, escaped the pocket, ran, got some first downs, scored those 2 touchdowns. So, it's important in this game that Quad just continues to do a lot of the things that he's been doing because, as A&M still continues to try to develop with their run game and also getting the cohesion with some of those newer receivers, which we'll get to in a minute. Quad definitely is an advantage in this game over Palmer.
Yeah. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes of things. The trenches. I know this is a place both you guys like to talk about. A&M last week, I don't think Quad Brown was touched once. I think they had 2, maybe 3 pressures. But even then, like you mentioned before, Zach, he was able to escape the pocket and pick up big yards. I don't know so much about Tennessee State. I'm trying to think because it's this game. I think in on paper is heavily skewed A&M. In its intangibles and stuff. It's just I think the biggest mystery about this game is the fact that we don't fully know. Both teams have played, teams that are at their level but are struggling. And both teams have played teams where they are overmatched completely. But let's go back and focus on the trench play. I think we know kind of advantage, but what do we think Tennessee State has or whatever, or how can they match up in this one, at least in the trenches?
Go ahead, Blue. You take that one first.
I actually think they match up pretty well in terms of their defensive line versus A&M's offensive line. I do think A&M's offensive line is really, really good. Like you said, I thought they played really, really well last week against Alcorn, but Alcorn doesn't really. They're more known for their linebackers more so than maybe like a go-to guy on the defensive line. Tennessee State's got some playmakers, man. James Stewart is legit off the edge, number 7. He has an NFL type frame. He was really, really good in that A&T game. And I think he's somebody you got to watch, and he'll come off the edge. I think Bryce Gray, 52. He's a freshman, man, plays D tackle there. Actually, an Alabama A&M transfer, Ravon Johnson off the edge as well. A kid out of Georgia, was a 3-star kid, committed to the Citadel, ended up going to A&M. He's going to be a guy that you're going to see a lot off the edge. Lathan Snipes, a D tackle, is a very, very experienced guy there, number 99. I just think for A&M, you just can't let anyone go free, right? Because as soon as things start breaking down, if you give Quad enough time not to just have a free rush, he can get out of the pocket and make a play. You just got to at least win your matchup initially. I think the bigger question mark is, does A&M have anybody who can get after the quarterback and make Palmer uncomfortable in the pocket? And I think they've done okay. Like, they've been fine on the defensive line, but guys, I don't think they have an elite guy that you can look at and say, that's the guy that on 3rd and long, we're going to say, it's him. It's got to be this guy to go get the quarterback. And that's going to be the challenge for Sam Shade is, can you do that by committee where, yeah, you might not have that James Houston type of guy where every single 3rd and long, all 3 of us would just be watching James Houston. It didn't matter what anybody else on the D-line did. Whereas James Houston, A&M's going to have to generate pressure by committee, and that's going to be the biggest thing is, can they get Palmer off his spot and make him uncomfortable in the pocket? And I thought North Dakota State dominated the line of scrimmage last week, but I don't think A&M has the guys up front that like NDSU has. But can they make plays in crucial moments? If you don't have to do it every single play, guys, but on crucial 3rd downs and key plays in the game, can A&M have a guy step up and make a play on that defensive line? That's going to be my question mark.
Yeah, I think like the other thing about A&M's defensive line that I've seen thus far is that they're a little bit undersized in a couple spots. Like Nick Glenn is a tough guy there at the nose, but by nose tackle standards, he's a little bit of an undersized guy. Jamarion Ellis, he's one of the returners that we had come back. He's been more of a rotational guy, more of a speed rush guy. So the one thing about A&M's defense on the defensive line that I will give them some credit for, they struggled against the run game of Alcorn State for 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden they found a way to plug those gaps and began to reset the line of scrimmage on Alcorn State's offensive line in that 4th quarter. It took them a while because, Jacorian Sewell got loose. Reggie got loose, so they were struggling against that run game. As far as Tolbert was, he's already a dual threat guy by trade anyway. So he's already, he was able to be on the move anyway. So I think what's important is that they have to be able to find whatever that formula that they had in that 4th quarter. They're going to need that because they're going to be really tested, not just by the pass game, but again, more so by that run game of Kendrick Grimes. And it's just really imperative because, again, like I said, that was the thing that Tennessee State did well in the game that they won. Like, they did it at a great level when they won. So,
yeah. Now, with that being said, we've kind of set the table and stuff. Wayne, I think during the preseason or when we kind of did the preview, if I'm not mistaken, I think you picked Tennessee State in this one.
I did.
How we feeling now? How you think this plays out? Blue, I think I know how you and you already told how you feel. But how do you think this game plays out? More than just a who wins, though.
Yeah. So for me, my thoughts are different because I have seen A&M play. I think offensively, you just look at where they are. You look at Frank Pierre transfer, Trevante Abner, those 2 Miles transfers. So Pierre on the outside playing the X, and then Abner at that tight end spot. Those guys have been difference makers. Pierre is. I heard about him, but then when I actually seen him play, I was like, this dude is really physical at that X position. Just look at her saying we in here lying. Hey, Frank Pierre has been really physical. Maurice Edwards, he's been pretty good running the ball. You know, I still think that what they need, though, they still got to get more consistency out of that run game. You know, Edwards really, he's not really a game break. They really don't have a guy who can just like I mentioned, Jacorian Sewell and Kendrick Grimes. They just get, you know, take it the distance on you. They have guys that are more like, okay, we're gonna pound on you 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, whatever. Also, I think what's different too is defensively, for the things that we said about the defensive line of A&M, I've been impressed with their linebacking core, how they've been able to rally to the ball, and also their secondary. It's not just the fact that their secondary has been in coverage. It's just the secondary is more physical than what it's been. And a lot of our guys, a lot of our people who've watched our games, they've noticed how much more physical our guys are on defense than in past years. Like if you saw how the way they were rallying to the ball and making some hit, I mean, they were putting some leather on guys, man, at Alcorn State. And that's something that we didn't see our guys do in the past couple of years. So, and also, lastly, I'll say this too. I think the toughness really comes, man, when you look at Shade and Chris Schelling, you look at just the toughness from those guys and how passionate they are. And also, I also just think that that's just really carried over to the team. And I think it's really been a big thing. Now, lastly, I'll say, I know the last thing. This is really lastly because I almost forgot this one. The thing that we got to really do better at is these damn penalties. We've had a lot of penalties. Like we had 7 penalties in the opener, and then we had 10 penalties in this last one. We had one series where we had back-to-back personal foul penalties, right? And when I talked to Shade this week during the coach's call, he said, we've been watching film. We've been showing guys, like we know that this is something we have to get control of. And if they don't get control of it, it doesn't matter how talented they are. This can be something that can be a problem for them. So these are the things that I see that's so much better about us than when we started in the preseason. And it gives me a lot of confidence that we'll win this game.
Yeah. Blue, I don't know if you want to,
I
was going to say, I don't know if you want to take that because I was going to say, if not, I got another question for you to set it up, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that the key to the game for Tennessee State is one, win the turnover battle. That was a big thing that helped them escape that A&T game, is they forced, what was it, like 2 or 3 fumbles in that game. Yeah, and so and that listen, that they if without those 3, they probably lose that game. So win the turnover battle, and also they've done a really, really good job of generating negative plays. I want to say they had like 13 tackles for loss or something like that against A&T or something crazy like that, and they had like 4 sacks. You got to get to the quarterback. Like I know Quad's elusive, but if you can hit him a few times early and get him thinking and get him nervous and getting him bailing on the pocket a little bit too early, this A&M offense does not have the rushing game to bail him out if he's uncomfortable and not going through his reads. And they aren't elite at wide receiver. I think A&M has good wide receivers, but they're not elite there. That's the key for Tennessee State. I think for A&M, it's one, just let Quad be the playmaker and keep him clean in the pocket. And then 2, the defense just has to not allow any explosive plays, because I don't think Tennessee State did a good job establishing the run down to down. They were just really good at generating a handful of key explosive plays against A&T when I went back and watched that game. If A&M can limit the explosive plays while keeping Quad clean in the pocket, and I think that's a recipe for success for A&M.
Explosive plays. I'm glad you said that. I was trying to go back and count, and I was counting explosive plays as like 15 yards or more. And I think in the first quarter they gave up 3, maybe 4 in the first quarter of the Alcorn game. And by that time I just stopped counting because it was time to, you're going there, and it just got, it got bad. And that's the only thing that really kept Alcorn in that game was those explosive plays. But fellas, let me ask this, and I'll kind of flip it and ask in this way when I say it. Wayne, Tennessee State wins if
they win if definitely like what Blue said. They force some turnovers. If they do that, they get some extra possessions. Also, they win if Kendrick Grimes has a great day rushing the ball. Because I'm just really convinced that if he gets loose for I ain't even gonna say 174 like he had in the first game, if he gets like a $150, and they're turning the ball, we're turning the ball over, and he gets a $150, we're not able to stop the run. Tennessee State's probably gonna win this game. That's what I believe.
All right, Blue, and you know I'm going. A&M wins if.
Yeah, like I said, keep Quad Brown clean in the pocket, limit penalties, and on the flip side, limit explosive plays defensively. That's the big key, man. Tennessee State's offense has not shown the ability to just be able to drive down the field consistently. Don't bail them out by allowing 1-2 play drives where they get 60, 70 yards on one play. Make them drive down the field consistently, and that's going to be the recipe for A&M to win.
All right. Well, fellas, I do appreciate y'all helping me break down this game and talk this game. I know you may have to go. So, again, I want to tell you thank you now. Truly appreciate y'all. Y'all really don't know how much I truly appreciate y'all, both of you guys, both of you gentlemen. But ladies and gentlemen, that was our Kelly Creations Game of the Week. And we'll go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be back in 1 minute. W is a powdered energy drink aimed at gamers and individuals seeking focus and energy. It's known for its clean ingredients, no jitters, and various flavors. W is also available in a hydration formula for those needing electrolyte. W achieves its smooth, effective focus with a high-end tasting experience while using no sugars, no fillers, no artificial colors or dyes. Try W today by scanning the QR code you see on the screen or visit them on the website at bit.ly/no-chill-W. W, your taste buds' favorite energy drink. All right, we are back. I mentioned before, and Blue, you know this. There are no really other good games this week. I honestly one of the best games this week, at least D1 wise, is only good to me because it's a historic thing. We'll get there. Bethune-Cookman versus South Carolina State. I don't know of anything to say. I don't know. Honestly, I feel as though South Carolina State is still a favorite for the MEAC. Bethune-Cookman is. I don't know if they'll be favored in any game they play this year. So,
well, maybe Valley, right?
Maybe I don't know the way Valley's been playing.
That's fair. That is a fair point. I think this game's super interesting, man, because on one hand, you have a desperate Bethune-Cookman team who needs to win, right? Because that coaching staff knows they're coaching for their jobs. But on the flip side, too, man, South Carolina State has looked really good. We talked in the offseason, man, about how much they've lost defensively. That defense has been elite this year. I mean, they're right now one of the better. I want to say they're the best statistical defense in the HBCU football. And man, you got to give O'Daffer and that defensive staff some credit, man. They have done a heck of a job rebuilding that defense.
Yeah. I don't think it's any surprise that I know I'm picking South Carolina State. Nothing against Bethune-Cookman. I like Coach Woody, but I honestly don't see it happening right now. Next up, Hampton taking on North Carolina A&T. Again, these are the games we have this week. So, you said A&T, right?
No, I picked Hampton earlier. This one pretty big. I mean, because if I'm not mistaken, right, A&T's down to like their walk-on quarterback or something. Like they lost 3 quarterbacks last week. I mean, it happens, I guess. But at the same time, and this was already not a very very good team, and now you're down 3 quarterbacks, multiple other players. I do think they made the right hire this
Oh
offseason,
yeah.
man. I really do. I think it's just gonna take some time, and this year was never gonna be a winning year, and you add that to the already
Mhm.
the injury bug they have. I think Hampton wins this one pretty
I
convincingly.
completely agree. Now, this is a game I was talking about that I think is a pretty good game just because of for historic reasons. Tuskegee taking on Jackson State. I love the history of this matchup. Uh, I love that Coach James has come in, brought Tuskegee, and they've had a phenomenal year, in a year where he's just got to do what he's got to do. He's got to win it. But they're taking on Jackson State, and I honestly don't see this. If Jackson State loses this one, it's because Jackson State loses this one. I don't see
Yeah.
anything more in this one.
No, Jackson State by a lot.
Yeah.
Whatever the spread is, double
Yeah.
it.
Now this game probably will be closer than it should be. Morehouse taking on Howard.
I still think Howard gets those one. I mean, dude, they gotta be feeling good after getting that FAMU win to open the season when everybody picked against
Yeah.
them. I think Howard gets this one. I mean, Morehouse, man, yeah, I don't pay a lot of attention to D2 football. I do know though Morehouse is not very good, so I think Howard wins this one.
Yeah. And this is this next game, Bowie State, Delaware State. If you would have told me beginning of the season, well, actually when we talked about this beginning of the season, I think I picked Bowie State to win this one. Not so fast, my friend. Delaware State looks pretty good at this point.
I got to be honest, man. I always admit when I'm wrong. I was completely wrong on which coaching staff out of Vic and
Fact.
Deshaun were going to look the most prepared. Deshaun Jackson, the biggest thing for me, man, when you watch that game last week against Albany, not only did they have to sit in like a 3-hour rain delay, knowing they needed a game-winning drive, and they delivered when they came out
Mhm.
of the rain delay on the field, watching his players and staff celebrate with him, you could tell how bought in he has his team. And man, I really do think this is it could be end up being a pretty special year for Delaware State. While on the other hand, Norfolk State, Vic and that staff just look completely lost right now, man. He looks lost in the press conferences. He looks lost on the sideline, and it could be a pretty long year for Norfolk
Yeah,
State.
completely agree. I did not think that this one would be or that Delaware State would. I honestly thought this would be one of those years where it's just like, no, Delaware State, another 2-10 or 2-9 season. And
Yes.
now, I'm looking like Pac-Man might want to get that checkbook ready because they might win 4 or 5 games. So
Yeah.
and last on the kind of matchups before I go strictly D2, Fayetteville State versus North Carolina Central. Not much to see here.
Central by as many as Trey Oliver decides to score.
Exactly. So man, that's it. This pretty much that I've got. I'm gonna run through some D2 matchups, but Blue, again, thank you for coming through, man. I know you got a lot that you're working through. I said that wrong because it sounds like you're going through some hard times.
Yeah, no, I'm just moving, guys. I'm good. I'm good. Y'all still see me setting up. I'm actually setting up my new studio right now, man. So sitting at a new kitchen table right now. But again, man, you already know.
Yeah.
Anytime you reach out to me, man, I'm gonna make time. I really, really appreciate it, man. And just looking forward to jumping back on here later this year to talk. Maybe we'll have a better slate, man. Invite me when we got some games to talk about.
Yeah. You know what? It'll be a couple weeks because I know one that Magic City Classic is so much more interesting at this point in
Oh,
time.
I can't wait.
Somebody said it, and it's kind of you're like, man, that sounds crazy, but that might be the 2 best quarterbacks in the SWAC right now.
Right now, yeah.
Right
I
now.
think Quad Brown and Andrew Body. If we're just basing it off of play this year,
Yes. No,
they're the
yeah.
2 best quarterbacks in the SWAC.
Yeah. Now I know
If we're just
yeah.
if we take into account career,
Oh no.
I think we could have a bit of a debate there. But if we're just strictly power ranking, not career ranking, power ranking, they're the 2 best quarterbacks in the SWAC, if not HBCU football right now.
Yeah. But of course, that is a lot of hyperbole based off of 2 games. So, but we shall see.
The bar right now is not extremely high. Like they just have to like skip over it. They don't have to really high jump over the bar for quarterback play right now in the SWAC.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, somebody said the bar is hell. So
yes, the bar is in hell right now. The bar is in hell. But man, I appreciate you, man.
All right, thank you again, Blue Man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at a couple of the or talk about a few of the D2 matchups that we have this weekend. In the SIAC, you've got Benedict taking on Central State. Virginia Union is taking on Edward Waters. Miles is taking on Alabama State. Lane taking on Allen. Somebody mentioned this game earlier. Albany State taking on FAMU. That game could be interesting for a couple reasons. They almost because of the situation what's going on, the climate of things, the threats going on at FAMU, they discussed possibly canceling this game or postponing it, but they are going to play this game at this time. But that game is interesting. You've got Quinn Gray at Albany State taking on his alma mater and FAMU, a struggling FAMU, and a lot of people think that if I'm not thinking, who is this, Southbound mentioned earlier, he says, Blue, I think that Albany State is going to beat FAMU hands down. It's going to be interesting to see. I know the Rattler faithful, they brag different, and they think that's just preposterous, but it's something to keep an eye on, that matchup there. Then you got Kentucky State taking on Grambling. Let's switch over here to the CIAA. All right, in the CIAA this weekend, let's see what we got. Come on now. CIAA, you've got Shaw taking on Ferrum College. Johnson C. Smith, fresh off a big upset over Valdosta State, is taking on Elizabeth City State. Virginia Union, or we mentioned that one. Lincoln, PA is taking on Winston-Salem. Bluefield State is taking on Wingate. And of course, like I said, we mentioned, we did already talk about some of the other matchups. But before we get ready to get out of here, let's go ahead and take a quick look at some of the players of the week from all 4 conferences. And ladies and gentlemen, from the SWAC, you've got Cornelius Brown from Alabama A&M. Lenore Jalil from Alabama State is your co-defensive player of the week. Matthew Cooks from Texas Southern is co-defensive player of the week. Gerardo Beza is the specialist of the week from Jackson State. And Quincy Ivory is quickly making a permanent spot for himself as the newcomer of the week from Jackson State. Looking at the MEAC, you got Caden Bennett from Delaware State is your offensive player of the week. You got Charles C.J. Wesley is the defensive player of the week from Howard. From Morgan State, rookie of the week is Maxim Copeland. Also from Morgan State, Daniel Casillas Jr. is your offensive lineman of the week. And from Norfolk State, Evan Helfrich is your specialist of the week. Switch over to the SIAC. They don't have pictures here, so I can switch it over so you can see. Offensive player of the week goes to Isaiah Knowles from Albany State. Defensive player of the week goes to Trevon French from Edward Waters. Special teams player of the week goes to Lorcan Ryans from Tuskegee. Newcomer of the week goes to EJ Hall, also from Tuskegee. And last but certainly not least, let's look at the CIAA. Quarterback of the week, Kelvin Durham from Johnson C. Smith, led that huge win over Valdosta State. Offensive back of the week, Traquan Johnson from Elizabeth City State. Wide receiver of the week, Challenger Valentine from Bowie State. Offensive lineman of the week, Austin Pittman. Offensive tackle from Winston-Salem. Defensive lineman of the week, Marvin Latortu from Lincoln. Linebacker of the week, Matthew Leach from Fayetteville State. Defensive back of the week, Samuel Graham from Bowie State. Special teams player of the week, Chris Brown from Winston-Salem State. Rookie of the week, Bobby Smith, running back from Johnson C. Smith. And that is your conference players of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Wayne Cartwright from the Hill, and also our good man Zach McKinnell from FCS Central, aka the Blue Bloods, for joining us tonight, helping us talk about the Alabama A&M Tennessee State game. Want to tell everybody, man, before we get ready to get out of here, please be vigilant. Please watch your, know what I'm saying, know your surroundings. Be careful out there. It's really starting to get a little I ain't gonna say getting a little, it's getting crazy out there. We all know the climate of things that are going on. Please do us a favor. Take care of yourself. Watch out for each other. Love on each other. We'll be back later on. We'll be back next week, Monday, probably. Break down some more of these games and get ready for the next game of the week. Until then, again, thank everybody for tuning in. And like that, we are out.